Hey there, how's it going? Halloween is almost upon us, and I've been working on some horror-themed skins for monkeys with guns. We now add to the collection Monkey Voorhees and Frankenstein's Monkey. The latter was voted on by my followers on Twitter, so thank you very much to those that voted. It's actually been a while since I've worked on some new skins for the monkeys, and it's a lot of fun, but it can be frustrating at the same time. Everything is usually all well and good, until I have to do the jumping and falling frames. For those animations, I've tweaked the angle of the monkeys' faces to be looking up or down, which can become a bit of a problem with some skins. Frankenstein's Monkey was particularly difficult to work with. That square head just really didn't want to look right, especially when looking down. I did eventually get something I liked, but oh boy, was that a lot of tweaking. And while we're here, let's talk a little bit about the art for the monkeys. I'm not really a purist when it comes to most things. If the end result works, it's the right way to do it. I'm talking about art here, not cutting corners in industry or anything like that. I think that comes from working in Photoshop for the last 20 or so years, where there's pretty much 100 ways to do almost anything. By the way, if you have an issue with scaling up your pixel art and it turning all blurry, it's most likely because the scaling is set to bilinear or bicubic, which is usually better for photos and paintings with higher detail. In Photoshop, you can change this with the drop down here if you were using the free transform, or here if you were scaling the whole image with image size. I'm not that familiar with many other image editing programs, I'm afraid, but a quick Google search for nearest neighbor and the program should point you in the right direction. Normally, when working in pixel art, you work small and scale up. For better or worse, I started Monkeys with Guns as a 1080p game, and instead of using small sprites and scaling up, each monkey is drawn at 100 pixels by 100 pixels, using a larger square brush to imply the pixel. This lets me make an image that has a small blocky look, but then cheat in the areas I need to for detail or effect. If you look here, we can see that the dark outline of the monkey for the most part appears to be a pixel line going around, but zooming in shows that what reads as a single pixel is actually a 3x3 block of pixels. This lets me use thinner lines for details and emphasis, like the white outline that is only 2 pixels wide, keeping it from being as strong as the black outline and helping pop the rest of the image. It's the same with the detail of the face, ear, and tail. I construct the character's overall shape and animation around the large outline, which keeps that retro NES type feel, but I add in details with smaller pixels that wouldn't be possible if it was made at the same scale it appears to be. I see it as making it look like I remember early pixel art looking. What early game artists were able to accomplish with limited size and colors is really remarkable. But those limitations aren't really a factor with most modern systems, so getting that look and feel is more important to me than adhering to the reasons why they look the way they did. One of the reasons I really like using the super boxy silhouette is that it requires less animation for the same effect. If the monkeys had longer legs, these 4 frames of animation would just not cut it. But because of the style, the legs only appear to be about 2 pixels tall. And with that apparent lack of detail, the brain is fine with the legs bouncing back and forth to look like running. Hell, the monkeys don't even really have arms. The arms are completely separate from the body and part of the gun sprites, actually. The guns were one of the biggest factors that led to this art style decision. If I worked small, which I did try in the beginning, the guns just didn't get enough detail to make them look good. They ended up with barrels as thick as the outline of the player, and it all kind of blended together. Now, I know you don't need outlines in pixel art, but aesthetically I really like it. So most of my art has it, and in some cases like the monkeys, they have 2. I can't say I have a great reason for this other than I like the look. It can help separate the character from the background, but that can also be done with color and value. Outlines can be tricky and really be a pain when you start animating sometimes. As elements move, you start getting places where the outline is now touching other parts of the outline, leaving a dark spot that can become an unwanted focal point. But because of the way the monkeys are designed, I can tweak the thickness of the outline to get a little bit more separation out of it. I do know some people that this inconsistency bothers, and if you're one of them, I'm mostly sorry. For me, the positives outweigh the negatives. But there definitely are some downsides. Drawing can be a bit trickier because you have to constantly balance the thickness of the outline, especially when drawing diagonals. You also lose the convenience I like with smaller pixel art that the pixels snap to the space they go because there's really no other place they can go. For example, if I want to draw a corner-to-corner diagonal line. Here, it's pretty simple. I can place the pixel here on the corner where I want it, and if it does get misplaced, it can only go either to the top or the side. With the monkeys, I have to be much more careful about my placement because there's a lot more incorrect places the pixels can go. This isn't really a complaint, it's just a minor headache sometimes. Overall, I still love the look and feel of the monkeys, and I'm going to try and make 1 or 2 more horror-themed ones before Halloween's over. I hope you enjoyed this brief look into the art of the monkeys, and if you have any questions or want me to go into any more detail about anything, leave me a comment below, or you can message me on Twitter. As always, you can get the alpha of Monkeys with Guns, or play any of my other games on vimlark.itch.io. The beta version will also be uploaded there on November 16th. I just did a 12-hour game jam on Saturday, and my teammate was my 13-year-old daughter who did all of the art. This was her first game and game jam, and it was a really great experience making a game together. She knocked it out of the park for her first time out, and I couldn't be a prouder dad. This game is also up on my itch page in the 12-hour game section. And with that, thank you very much for watching. Consider subscribing to see future videos, and I'll talk to you next time. Later.